Now, in Psalm 122, we are looking at the Pilgrim Psalms. We began with Psalm 120. It goes through Psalm 134. There are actually 15 of these Pilgrim Psalms. Now, in Psalm 120, we saw this man in distress, in a time of trouble. He was in a place that the neighborhood was bad, and he was being talked about, lied about. He actually is living in a ghetto, and now he leaves that, takes his family and goes up to Jerusalem. And in Psalm 121, he comes in sight of the hills of Judea. Then in Psalm 122, he comes in sight of Jerusalem. And we see here the wonderful city of Jerusalem, and it's the place where the tribes come up. And I probably ought to say a word relative to Psalm 122 before we pass on. Actually, it's a millennial psalm, and it looks on to the future. I actually do not think that it had anything to do with the rebuilding of Jerusalem in Nehemiah's time. It could only refer, I think, to the future. It's a beautiful psalm when we see it as a prophecy, looking forward to the day when all the tribes will come up to Jerusalem and assemble themselves. The question arises, where are the lost tribes? Well, they're not lost here. They're not lost here, friends. They're those that call them the 10 lost tribes, and they try to identify themselves with Great Britain and with those of us in this country. It sounds good. There's not a word of truth in it at all. No scriptural basis and no fabric of fact at all. Now, will you notice, he says here, again, let me read it, our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is builded as a city that's compact together, whither the tribes go up, all 12 of them. The tribes of the Lord, under the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of the Lord. I think it's looking forward to that day when they'll come together to go up to Jerusalem to worship. Now, they've been out of that city a long time. They actually don't really have it today. They can't build a temple there where the Mosque of Omar is. All of these sacred places are pretty well covered by Gentiles. And Hosea had said that. In Hosea 3:4, he says, for the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, without a prince, without a sacrifice, without an image, without an ephod, and without teraphim. And certainly they have abode many days. But there's going to be a millennial Jerusalem, and this is it.